Now let's move on to induction week, perhaps the most bewildering week in any student's career. It's at the start, so you get it over with quickly, but try not to think about it too negatively, because actually it can be a really enjoyable, fun and interesting week. Now, the structure of it's important, and what I'm going to do is not give you a whole guide to the multifaceted interests and activities of induction, but just think about what's important and what can be left for later. What's central, what's extraneous. First of all, you've got the formal school meetings, the welcome meetings, the guide to the first year modules and courses, the guides to assessment, plagiarism and so forth. You have to attend these. These are your building blocks. These are your foundations for the first term. Around that, though, there's always interesting stuff led by students, peer mentors, peer meetings, society fairs, which will nurture you and beckon you into the student community. These are really good to get involved with as a kind of balance towards the more formal policy stuff that you'll be engaged with when you arrive. Beyond the school, it's up to you. Dabble in what you can find time for. There's a student union at your university who'll be putting on societies fairs, activities, events. That's fine. Have a look at them. Skim over the surface of some of them, you'll get time to look at them later on. And beyond that in induction week, of course, there's a side which everyone looks forward to, socialising, finding out about your university town, getting to know friends. That's absolutely great and absolutely expected too, accommodated by the university. But remember to try and balance that with the more formal stuff of attending the proper formal meetings that will allow you to fit in those first few weeks. Now I come to this question of entering the research community. It sounds a bit odd. It sounds like you're stepping on a new planet, entering a new world, but it's not. It's not that different. But there are things that you've got to remember that are different between the school on the one hand and the university on the other. Essentially, you're moving from a teaching context to a context of tuition. Being taught, you see your history teacher multiple times in the week. You get highly structured information, well packaged, well refined, ready for you to delve into. Tuition's slightly different. Tuition is guidance that allows you to research, that allows you to study, rather than highly packaged information about the content of history. The clearest way I can put it is I would say teachers tell you about history, where tutors tell you how to research history. So, enter the research community and delve in and be ready to take the initiative of the research materials that you're pointed in the direction of. You won't simply be given course backs. You won't simply be given textbooks. You'll be given a set of instructions, essentially, to go and look for and mine information for yourselves. This means that the tutors will expect a lot of you. They'll expect initiative, they'll expect high levels of engagement, and they'll expect this thing called independent learning, which is essentially structuring your own research. This can lead to research-led teaching at its best. The tutors will inspire you, stimulate you, point you in different directions, but it's up to you then to become a researcher as well as a pupil, a scholar as well as a student. That's what I would say is the way to enter fully into this research community and take the bull by the horns. You'll also be invited, in some ways, to change the space in which you work. School teaching is generally about the classroom, again a highly structured environment. At university, you'll have lectures, certainly, face-to-face seminars, which I'll talk about more in a second. But you'll also be directed to the library. So it's your chance to make that library space your home. Look at the archives, special collections, online databases. Again, it's about you entering, familiarizing yourself with, and structuring your own research experience in those spaces. Most of your time in university will be about you structuring your own space, in a sense, and structuring your own experience. The good researcher takes the initiative. Let me say then about the different kinds of participation that you'll encounter at university. Now, we've already mentioned independent learning, and that's about delving into research yourself, but there are more structured ways of teaching and learning that you'll have to get used to. First of all, a little bit about lectures. These are the broad introductions to key ideas, topics, and debates in your subject. Now, that might sound quite passive. Do you sit back and take all the information? Well, you do that to some extent, but there are certain ways in which you can really engage. First of all, read a bit, survey texts, general introductions before the lecture, and in the lecture, most importantly, actively take notes. Stimulate ideas. go off on tangents. Even as the lecturer is speaking, you'll get time, pauses, breaks to think through things yourself. Engage actively with learning, even in spaces and times where you think, I'm being given information, I'm a consumer. If you make that transition from being a consumer to being a producer of research, even in the lectures, then you're well ahead. Next type of participation, I suppose, is the seminar, and that's really the most crucial part of your university experience. This is the time when you gain your voice. It's the time when you intervene in debate and hear the ideas and arguments not just of your tutor, but of your peers. So attend all seminars. Sounds a bit tyrannical to suggest that, but these are the precious contact hours in which you engage in debate, enjoy debate, and also disseminate your own ideas to other listeners. Read rigorously before seminars, enjoy debate, and also make sure that you've got the etiquette right. Listen carefully, engage with the students as equals, sometimes respect but sometimes challenge your tutor. These are the things that make for a lively seminar. One thing that might be new to you is participation outside the classroom, outside the seminar in effect. Now, increasingly universities will ask you to enter into online collaboration. Now, I won't go too far into this at the moment, but you'll have things like virtual learning environments, which you may have experienced at sixth form, but will be probably more highly developed at university. These will allow you to discuss online topics before seminars. They'll allow you to create resources, link resources in, add video clips, build reading lists sometimes. Increasingly, we are judging you not just on your seminar participation, but your participation outside the classroom. Get involved in that. And also, on a more human level rather than virtual level, create research groups. Get together with students who are interested in the same thing as you. Even as the university experience develops, why not set up a reading group which can supplement and invigorate your seminars and your lectures? So have a think about these different modes of participation. And again, in many ways similar to what I was saying about topics and teaching styles, be prepared to experiment. The final thing that I'd like to talk about is the sheer difference of university study. Now, I said that it wouldn't be alien, and that there were continuities in terms of your skills and your ways of studying and the things that you'll read. Sometimes you'll even encounter the same sources again. Great, you're on familiar territory. But there are crucial differences. And one of those differences will be in the types of tutor that you'll get. You'll move from one tutor to the next. And sometimes you'll be being taught 3 modules in a week. So in a sense, you'll be getting 3 new personalities, 3 types of teaching, 3 strategies of learning thrown at you all at once. Now, some will engage with technology more than others. We'll have pulsing PowerPoints, we'll have VLE discussion rooms, we'll have discussion fora. Engage, experiment, enjoy these. Others will be more old school, and stand in front of you, tell anecdotes, tell a kind of narrative form of history, which may be technologically less sophisticated, but will still be entertaining, inspiring in a different way. So as you move from character to character, bear in mind that they've been trained in different ways. They'll have different approaches and different things to contribute to your overall study of history. As well as teaching styles, though, do bear in mind that array of geographical regions that you'll be looking into, time periods, and multiple approaches that you'll be engaging with even in your first year at university. Some tutors will like to teach through the prism of race, for example, thinking that that's the most important idea that structures history. Some people will prefer gender or military history or political history, cultural history. You'll have to be intellectually flexible. And indeed, that's one thing as a history lecturer I'll say that I've rewarded most of all throughout my time as a history tutor, is that ability to move from topic to topic and still have that intellectual flexibility, that mental dexterity to deal with new styles of teaching and new topics. Keep that in mind. As well as the different teaching styles and topics that I've just been talking about, you'll also be struck by the level of diversity within your peer group. Now, this is quite a tight-knit community in some ways. You'll all love history. You'll all be fascinated by it. You'll all be a bit of an elite. You've made it to university. But within that, it's worth bearing in mind that you'll have all been trained and taught in different ways. You'll have sidelines of historical interest. You'll be coming at it from a different perspective. You'll even be developing already different approaches. Now, that's about respecting and enjoying your peer group. Listen to their ideas, Construct collaborative groups of research, chat, engagement outside the seminar class. And then you'll get this multi-layered approach to study at university. Experimental topics, an openness to experimental teaching, and a diversity also within your colleagues, your peers, your student friends. And a few things to say in conclusion to summarise. Take that time, that apparent limbo between when you get your A-level results and when you enter university to do your research, to prepare. Get a sense of that virtual community that's online. That will allow you to take steps to get to know the staff, the structure, and the topics that you'll be dealing with for 3 years. Take time to adapt. Be easy on yourself. It doesn't take a day, a week. It takes a year at least to really settle into university. So this transition will take a long period of time. Allow yourself to take in the new topics, the new styles of teaching, and give yourself space to experiment with these different topics and styles. Participate. The crucial thing about university and making the most of it is to engage in that research community that I've been talking about. There's no use being a passive consumer of knowledge. Seminars are your chance to articulate your ideas, your approach, your beliefs about history. Don't be silent in those, because that can create a negative rhythm where you turn up and you take in information, but you don't learn to express it. And history is all about communicating and expressing ideas. And the final thing that I'd like to say about your time studying history at university is revel in that variety. It'll be very different to school. There'll be certain structures and ideas and ways of learning that you can take on, but a lot of it will be new. New teaching styles, new topics, and a whole host of forms of participation that you can get to grips with. This will be tough to acclimatise to, but in the end, you'll open your mind and be this intellectually dexterous historian that I've been talking about. Thanks very much.